May the meditation of my heart and the words of my mouth be pleasing unto you, O Lord. Please be seated. Hello again. It's been 6 months. I'm back. Twice a year I get the pleasure to speak to you all as a parish family or as a church community. And for those of you who are new or might not know me, my name is Jory. I'm on the board. We call it the vestry in Episcopalianism speak. The vestry, we oversee the functions of the church and the management of the day-to-day. My function on that board is stewardship, often confused with pledge. They are separate words with separate meanings. As stewardship chair, I promote and create a conversation in this community about life balance. We believe God gives us time, talents, and treasure, and I promote the use of those. As a community, each of us brings something to the table, whether it be the rich or the poor, various skill sets, clearly demonstrated in our musical abilities and so forth, most tangibly. We all bring something to the table, perhaps handyman skills that I do not possess. Thank you, Pete Wilson, for having those things, and so on. Today kicks off our pledge season, so there's stewardship, which is the macro, and then there's pledge, which is the business function of paying for all of this. So if you're a visitor, come back again, because this is not a typical sermon. This is once a year we stop as a community to check in where we've been, where we are, and where we're probably going in the year to come on a financial level. So this is our free pass for any visitors. We don't talk about money a lot at the pulpit. Today we're going to briefly discuss a little bit. So deep cleansing breath. Okay. So you might have heard the story. There recently, Silverwood Elementary School in Concord, right on the border, kind of the Clayton Valley area, they had a show and tell in the second grade class. And the children were charged to bring in a religious icon showing their family's faith tradition. So Timmy, for instance, he was first up. He came to the front of the room and showed a picture of the angel Moroni and said, my family's Mormon, and my 12 brothers and sisters and I, we believe in the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith, and went on to explain a little bit about the angel Moroni and so forth. Next up was Bridget. She brought a set of old rosary beads that had been passed on for a few generations, and she spoke about her faith tradition of being Catholic, and First Communion is on the radar, and so forth. And then the next up was Eric, and he brought this picture of the Star of David, and talked about the Jewish New Year just a few weeks ago and what a big deal it was, and the traditional foods and so forth. And then Toby was next. He brought up a casserole and said, I'm a Methodist. Gabby, unfortunately, the token Episcopalian, was sick that day. She was going to bring a cheese board with pairs of wine to go with it, but she was ill, so it didn't work out. I love today's gospel message because it brings us back to that no-nonsense, keep it simple message of Christ. You have the Pharisees and everybody obsessing over rules, the old law that you read so much about in the Old Testament. Everything had a purpose and a function, and we had to check off everything. And then, teacher, what do we do? Isn't it the rule that we have to give everything to God? And Jesus' very simple and straightforward and refreshing response was, give to Caesar what's Caesar's, or give to the emperor what's the emperor's, and give to God what's God. The typical belief of tithe is a tradition of 10% of one's income goes to the church. And he's basically saying in this instance, we've got many interests. We've got many things in our lives. Give to the emperor what's his, give to God what's his, deal with the rest of it, and life goes on. Let's not obsess over rules. It comes from the heart. You might have noticed the banner at the bottom of the ramp. It talks about giving with a joyful heart. Giving and pledging for next year is a matter of the heart. It means sitting down with your family and discussing these types of things, and where is your heart in all of that. So before I get too far ahead of myself, I want to talk about two things. One, I want to talk about my weekend last weekend, 7 days ago. And two, I want to talk about where we are as a church, where we are as a parish. So last weekend, I had the difficult duty. It was tough, but someone had to do it. Myself and 10 of my buddies went to Sonoma for the weekend. And my friend Matt, his family owns 2,200 acres, spanning redwood forests and springs and a vineyard. I mean, it was rough. There was potential to get dirt under my nails. I was not comfortable with this. I mean, the jacuzzi was broken. This was tough, okay? The cottage was 6 bedrooms and 4 baths. You know, it's hard living, but we made it. We made it, you guys. Don't worry, we're okay. So during this time, there was 10 of us, 10 friends. Some I knew better than others. What was interesting is the conversation spanned everything. You spend 48 hours together with a group of friends and you cover it all, right? From childhood stories to current events, you name it, we covered it. During those discussions, I kept hearing little stabs at religion. And I mean, a couple of them knew that I'm very active at St. Paul's. A couple of them knew my upbringing in the church and so forth. But it's not like I wear, my name badge. Sorry, Mark, I don't wear my name badge in social settings. That says St. Paul's. But keep up the good work, Mark. So what was interesting and what was sad and what was telling was here we are, a very mainstream group of guys. I mean, we had 3 lawyers, 2 of us in investment finance, a CFO, a paralegal, a director of a medical center. I mean, a fairly well-educated, white-collar group of guys, and a very intelligent group. I felt like the loser because I didn't have a post-bachelor's degree. So here we are, and I'm hearing things like, just out of left field, religion is really the cause of a lot of pain and hurt. Religion, organized religion, do you know how many wars can be attributed to organized religion? You know what child abuse is? Organized religion. There was just all these darts, these zingers. It was just like, whoa, where's this coming from? Organized religion really promotes ignorance and anti-intellectualism. Organized religion, it keeps gay guys in the closet. It makes people be inauthentic. It makes people put a facade on. And I was just like, whoa. Time out. Let's talk. Because the reason I come to this church and the reason I, in this context, write the check to this church, the reason I invest my talent, my time, and my treasure to this organization is because when you talk about causing war, the Episcopalians don't really do war. We do peace. We're always the dove in that argument rather than the hawk. We have a long history of doing that. Bigotry and intolerance, no. We reach out at a corporate, national level and at a local level for diversity. How can we get into other groups of people? How can we reach out to the Hispanic population? How can we reach out to the gay and lesbian population? How can we reach out to people other than ourselves to share that there's a God out there that loves them just as they are? I keep coming back here because I believe that this place is not anti-intellectual. I believe very much that it's quite the opposite. If you look at the demographics of the Episcopal tradition in the US, you see that we have more highly educated people, more post-bachelor's degrees than most mainline churches. This is a smart group of people. And to that end, we actually don't commit much to written doctrine, which I love, because there's a sense of humility in that. That's something I can get behind. I grew up in an evangelical tradition, and I by no means am bashing it. I'm glad I had that upbringing. This church suits me more. That said, there was, we're right, and that's the end of it, sort of perspective. I can't get behind that. What I can get behind is this tradition in that we're curious about the world around us. We're curious about the way God transcends different cultures and around the globe. We're curious and we're humble and we're willing to lend an ear, to have real dialogue, to have real discussion, because maybe the finite person before you doesn't have all the answers. But maybe together as a community, we can maybe get our hands a little bit more around this human condition and this world and who God is. That's what I can get behind, that humility, that curiosity. And what I also love about the Episcopal tradition and what I can get behind is that we promote authentic human beings, just as you are. We are the church of hospitality. You might have heard that if you've been attending the Episcopal tradition for a while. We are the church that welcomes all. No matter what your path has been, no matter what lifestyle you're from, come as you are, just as you are. Love, open arms, no agenda. Just come and join us. And how about a glass of wine? We love that. As a lot of people say, I'm an Episcopal because it's Catholic light. That's kind of true. I like it because it's Catholic heavy. I say, but I'm a church geek, so I'm kind of weird. But that said, we don't commit much to doctrine. So that means you have to wrestle with things. What about evolution? What about the acceptance of gays and lesbians? What about the weird social dramas that we have dealt with over the decades, over the millennia? We're open-minded to that. You have to wrestle with it. There's no edict. There's no 1, 2, 3, this is how it is. We keep it a little bit more open than that. It's because of that inclusion, that open-mindedness, that humility, that keeps me coming back, that keeps me investing my time, my talent, and my treasure to this community here. So where are we as St. Paul's the community? 1 year ago, or actually let's just go back to almost a year ago, let's go back to January 1st of 2011. We saw ourselves in the red by almost 30 grand. We were not in a happy place. Not very surprising. The economy was really lousy. It's not that much better. It's a little better, but not much, depending on the sector you're talking about. We were in a lot of turmoil within the church. There was a lot of change going on. Fast forward to today, because of the faithfulness of folks such as yourselves sitting in these very pews, and especially to the 7:30 crowd who, let's face it, they pay all the bills here. I'm kidding. We all do. I told them thank you, don't worry. On behalf of the 10 o'clock service, thank you. We love what you've done with the place and we enjoy it. So we went from a $30,000 deficit to what will probably close this year as a $20,000-ish surplus. That's fantastic. That's amazing. We're in a really bad recession and we're going to finish the year with a surplus. How did that happen? One, we've got a $5 million campus here, or at least that's what the books say. These buildings and all the assets that we have, we're using them more intelligently and more intentionally. We're able to rent the facilities out. Let's face it, a church Monday through Friday, Sunday evenings and so forth, doesn't get a lot of use. It's kind of sitting idle. So let's use these tremendous assets from the folks that have been before us to make a little bit more facility use fees off of. It's a smart thing to do. We needed to do it, and we did it, and we're running that well. The other piece of it is, which really touches my heart, is especially in the context of Pledge Sunday, we are in rough economic times, as I've said. We had a family who had to pull back. We had a number of families who had to pull back their giving because of these hard economic times. I get it. I had to do it. Many of us have had to do it. Totally get it. What was amazing is one family in particular had a windfall, and they were able to catch up. They said, we're still committed to this community. We felt bad that we had to pull back a little bit, but now we got our rhythm again, and we're able to give back to the standard that we're used to. And they were able to write a sizable check, which got us caught up. The good news is we have a small surplus. The bad news is we also have a laundry list of expenses that are pending. For instance, a very large ticket item is the beautiful chapel, the original chapel. It's been painted with lead paint over the years. It's got to go. The lead paint has got to go, and that comes with a very hefty price tag. I was joking, I think it was joking with Lyle or Pete before service that, we can make $100,000 go in a blink of an eye. We have a large campus, there's lots and lots of needs. An idea that I want to float out there is the idea of an associate rector. Since I started coming here about 3 years ago, ever since I stepped foot on this place, people have been clamoring, wanting, desire, let's get an associate rector and be, again, fully staffed for this church. We invite so many people from the community in all the time. We need to be better staffed to meet the needs of our people. Is it time now to seriously have a discussion about hiring an associate rector? Yes, we have a surplus. That's great. That is a great leverage point, so to speak. It's really up to you, and that's the funny part. If I can go off script for a moment, people always say, oh my gosh, I don't envy your position on the board. Oh my gosh, to have to ask for money from people. I'm very good at it. Ask my dad. I'm really good at asking for money, especially when I was in college. But I don't really ask for money. All I do is create the conversation. All I do is get up here, crack some jokes, connect with you all, hopefully, and say, look, this is where we are. This is where we'd like to go. Think about it. And the response is up to you. It's up to you if we're going to have an associate or not. I ask and I place out there on the table to please pray. Get with your families, pray about the direction of the church going forward in the new year. Can we muster up the financial support to bring on an associate rector? What I continue to see, in addition to a desire for an associate rector, is thousands and thousands of volunteer hours. This place is run by volunteers. We have a skeleton crew of paid staff members. It's you folks that are doing the lifting, the thousands of hours a year. So to you all, I say thank you for your volunteer hours. I see, it's amazing the cast of characters that I see at all these different events that we do year round. Such dedicated people. And what's funny and what's amazing is that when I came on the vestry, I was appointed a year and a half ago, and I kept thinking, I should go around really, truly thanking, thank you for coming out and helping set up the tea, and thank you for doing the flowers, and thank you for volunteering to work at the shelter in Martinez. I mean, yes, the sentiment is true, and from my heart, I do mean thank you, but these people would have done it whether I said thank you or not. I mean, they are so self-motivated, they feel a calling to do that type of work, and they jump on it and they do it. And it's amazing, and it's inspiring to me. What I see also is that we raise and we give away tens of thousands of dollars a year to community projects and community charities. Well-vetted, long-standing relationships, like the Mountain View Shelter, for example, youth homes are a couple. We give out tens of thousands of dollars a year to these great organizations that's doing real work in our community, in Contra Costa and in Walnut Creek. We're not just talking the talk, we're walking the walk. We are doing it. We're writing the check, which sometimes hurts. We're writing the check, and we're making these organizations not just survive, but thrive. We have 124, we're 124 years old. We look pretty good, don't we? I went to the first service this morning. They said none of them were actually there 124 years ago. I don't know, maybe they're lying, I don't know. 124 years of legacy of making an impact in Walnut Creek and the Contra Costa surrounding area. We're about to turn 125 in about a year. It's tremendous. The generations of people that went before us, who wrote the check in the context of the pledge, who gave thousands of their hours to build this organization, to build this campus, to create this sense of community, so that people like myself who relocated back to the Bay Area can find a church home. Just as I am, love with no agenda, no judgment. The only judgment I get is, where were you? We missed you last week. And then I get a thump on the side. That's the only judgment I get. And it's sincere. There's a lot of love here. If you stick around long enough and get to know people here, they really care. They really do care. And it's an amazing community of love here. That's why I call it home. We are continuing to see new visitors at a great, great pace. It means we're saying something, we're doing something right because these people keep coming in. They keep trickling in. We have not one, not two, but 3 new member classes this year. That's tremendous. That's tremendous. 3 new member classes this year. Instead of 1 Sunday school class, and instead of 2 Sunday school classes, we're flirting with the idea of launching a 3rd Sunday school class for the kids because our children's classes are getting so full. That's where the life of the church is. If you want to see the legacy of the church and what it looks like 10, 20, 30 years from now, it's down across the courtyard. That's where it's at, and we're doing good work there. The youth group continues to roll on very strong with Richard and Linda driving that bus. And speaking of thousands of volunteer hours, I get to hang out with the youth group and be a volunteer. Richard and Linda give thousands of hours a year, maybe hundreds, maybe not thousands, hundreds of hours tirelessly, being the ultimate cheerleader for the teens in this area. By the way, another reason why I like this place, I'm going to go off script for a minute. The other reason, we took the youth group to the beach a few weeks ago to Half Moon Bay for a beach day to kind of wrap up the summer. There's about 12 of them, 12, 15, I forget how many. And, it's typical beach games, barbecue, yeah. Then at the end of the day, we came back to the youth center and had a lock-in. And at that lock-in, we went around the room and said high-low. What was your high for the day and what was your low for the day? It's a great debriefing tool, and it creates a lot of good discussion. So the high for 4 of the kids, and this is why I love youth ministry at St. Paul's, the high for 4 of them was taking a nap on the beach. Sign me up. I love that. I'm all about taking naps. That's wonderful. I could totally get behind that. The beauty of this community and the beauty of where we're at today is that we continue to be a dedicated, hardworking group of people who care about one another, who want to share God's love, free love. No more rules, no more edicts of the old world. This is the new law of Christ on the cross for all who so desire and so seek. That's the free love we're selling here, selling for free. And I invite you to talk with your families. Please grab a pledge packet. They're all alphabetized as you leave today. Please get those back. It's a shorter session this year. We're not dragging it on for a month. We're going to be back in 2 weeks to have the in-gathering. So the last Sunday of the month, please bring those back, and we'll offer them on the altar as a form of worship. Because that's what this is. It's a form of worship. It's a heart thing, not a mind thing. It's a heart thing. It's up to you and your families to make that decision. I merely create the conversation starter. So consider the associate, consider the opportunities, and thank you on behalf of the vestry and leadership of this church for your generosity through the years, through your generosity in this year, 2011, which has been a tough year financially. Thank you for your continued dedication, and let's see what 2012 brings for us, shall we? Thank you.